Welcome to Chapter Sass, the podcast where we deep dive into the books that make you blush, gasp, and maybe even think a little. I'm your host, Season, and with every book, I'll be joined with a new co-host with their own hot take. From spicy romances to messy love triangles and all the glorious chaos in between, we're here with a fresh perspective to unpack the stories we love, question what we think we know, and explore how the book speaks to us. Things might even get a little sassy. This episode is rated mature and will contain spoilers. Let's get into the first chapter. Welcome back, everyone. We are going to be covering the Bonds of Hercules. This is the second book in the Villain of Lore series by Jasmine Mas. We're going through chapters 18 to 14. Hello, Danielle. What are you drinking today?
Always water jug. And then, per usual, decaf coffee, tons of oat creamer, but in my cute little Snoopy mug this time.
Oh, I love it.
And I'm working on one of our book-themed cocktails.
Ooh.
So I'm working on a Sonic Eye Blood cocktail.
Everyone, if you hear that, we're going to have to try this Sonic Blood cocktail that we're going to make. We're going to host a little thing. We're going to make cocktails. Danielle's going to teach us. Oh, I can't wait to try that. Am I allowed to know what's in it?
Yeah, so I'm a little concerned about like the coloring on it, right? Because I wanted it to be like red. So there's gin in here, there's red bitters in here. It's got a little bit of this thing in it called alchermes, which is actually produced from like a crushed up bug.
Oh, I mean, I'm down for it.
But it gives it like a little bit of a like cinnamony spice sort of vibe.
Oh,
So I'm not quite sure like what other cocktail component to compare it to. Like what sort of like classic cocktail to Bill mimics, because it gets a little weird. But we're working on it, and the goal is just like, how red can I make this?
I'm here. And for those of you who've heard me say this before, I'll say it again. I trust Danielle with anything that she puts in front of me if it's a drink. You are absolutely amazing. So I have no doubt in my mind that will taste amazing. So,
I think my concern is that it's gonna stain my mouth.
well, if it's Sonic Blood and we're comparing to certain Sonics, maybe that's the goal. I don't know.
No, look at me, who's on theme? This girl.
Yeah. I also pulled a Danielle today, and I also have 3 drinks. So I have my good old water. Stay hydrated. And if you guys cannot tell from what I'm wearing, today is the Bear and Packers game. Hopefully we win. So we'll just be wearing all types of Bear gear. It's going to be very interesting because later it's my friend's birthday and she's doing Russian tea and we have to dress up. And I literally told her I will be in Bears gear. I will look cute. I'm going to throw on a skirt and some stuff. I don't know, but I will be rocking my Bears gear. But to help that, I have my football coffee. It's just black coffee in here. It's amazing. And then, because we're getting into the spirit, this has nothing to do with the theme of the book. Maybe I can somehow make it to the theme, but this is just coquito, so Puerto Rican eggnog, and just a little bit, just because it's cheers, 'tis the season. So,
Yeah.
so cheers,
Here.
and see what I do with my name there. 'Tis the
Yes.
season. Well, let's get into the next chapter. Just a little recap before Alexis has not been with her husband. She now has to go training. She's part of the Assembly of Death, and so she has picked her mentors to like ultimately do her first assignment. Chapter 8, The Men Who Kneel. This is an Alexis chapter, and it is 0 days until the first Titan assignment. And I will say, I think we got a lot of information on this in these like next set of chapters. And something I love about myself is because like I had read this before and I like highlighted things and like I didn't even know why it's important. And then like going back now and like going through my highlights, I was like, "Ooh, I was so smart to highlight that." 'Cause, like it connects later. So proud of myself. Like, and I did it like 15 times. I was like, so I will be letting you know everything like I highlighted. All right. So, anyways, again, chapter 8, Men Who Kneel, Alexis chapter, 0 days to her first Titan assignment. So the night has finally come. It's time for Alexis. Like, she's gonna go on her first assignment. And while she gets ready, Fluffy, Junior, and Poco are playing. And Poco is not with Augustus, but is with Alexis. So that is something to just flag in our heads and like just keep it there. But animal protectors are supposed to be staying with like their person. In theory, they're all in the same house, so he's not far from Augustus, but he is playing with Fluffy Jr. As Alexis heads to like the room, they're heading to like an atrium where she's going to meet the rest of the Assembly of Death members. Persephone leaps into the room to see Alexis, and she has like a mother daughter talk with her about like fighting the Titans. And we get just some additional information from Persephone, and she tells Alexis this is more about their creature heritage that she needs to like just understand. Alexis has the blood of Hades and the house of Demeter, which makes Alexis and her power very unique. This is why Demeter disowned Persephone, why the Federation exiled me, and why Hades had to take me in. According to Persephone, Sparta prefers people who falls into neat little boxes. This is why she claimed the land of Crete and she was just allowed to is because she was like exiled and all this. And her powers were so big, especially after the marriage bond. But Persephone's also part goddess, god slash creature. Persephone tells Alexis it's much easier to wield powers that are insignificant. It's difficult to harness like unique powers, and that's how you know it's gonna be really good. And so she since she Alexis doesn't know much about her powers, Persephone just is like, you have a good power, you just don't know it yet. Persephone looks at her watch and says she needs to leave because the Federation cannot know she's here. And so then I ask myself, is this like a loophole? Like who else can we just leap into certain things and not alert other people? If this does happen, is there anyone else? Is it just for Stephanie because she's a creature, like part creature? So we don't really get the answer to that question, but I think it might be important maybe for like later books or things. As Alexis waits, Augustus shows up and gives Alexis a pager and tells her if she runs into any trouble to press the pager button. Even if she's like unsure, press it and they'll be there. And this is like the same pager but like button thing they used while they were in the crucible. Alexis and Augustus like have a moment, like their heads come together, and he tells her that he hates that she's in the assembly of death and that he wishes that they were there to protect her. And Alexis like truly believes him. She knows that like he would do anything to protect her. But alas, we don't always get what we want, and there wouldn't be a plot to this story if she just like went with him right now. So Alexis pulls away and tells Augustus that she can take care of herself. And then Augustus gets mean in quotations, like he just puts up his front again, right? Like he just like let down his vulnerability and like now he like just puts his wall back up and he just tells Alexis, you better keep yourself fucking safe. If you need a leap to safety, you do it. You understand? You protect yourself at all costs. Nothing else matters. Then he proceeds to tell her that she doesn't take care of herself, there'll be consequences, and kisses her forehead. So he loves her deep down. This is just his way of saying it. And Alexa's just taking all of this in because normally it's kind of Charon. Like this is kind of like the first time we really get like Augustus like defending her or telling her be safe, whatever. But normally it's like Charon doing that. And then of course Petra has to ruin the moment and it's like, don't worry, she's safe with us. And Achilles is just glaring at Alexis. And then Petra says, she's completely safe with us. We're her mentors, just like old times when she used to live with us, remember? Then Karin appears. He was in her blind spot because remember she's half blind or blind, and tells her to put this on and gives her a holster with like way more guns and knives or daggers. And she's already wearing like some. And she's just like, I already have this. And Karen's like, you need more. Then he gives her like the handcuffs that she's supposed to use to like restrain Titans. But Petro had said not to worry about it, that like they would take care of it, but she like doesn't say anything. So like Karen's just here like putting more and more shit on her to keep her safe. And in my head, I'm just like, oh, that's so sweet of him. But also, like, how am I running? Like, just being realistic. Like, I have all of this shit on me. Like, how am I running? How am I running away from anything? Like, that's heavy.
That just made me think of the video of like when ICE and National Guard like first got to Chicago and there was that guy on his bike on the bridge downtown and like the ICE officers couldn't run after him because they were
Oh,
so
yes.
down.
'Cause he had, like, a he was, I think, a delivery guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my god.
And then the whole internet was like, "You go, bike guy."
Like, you're just putting all this like, she can't move at this point, like, and the book jokes and like she's like a walking arsenal right now, and I'm like, "Yeah, like, how are you fighting anything with this much?" And, like, again, remember in our heads, Alexis is, like, skinny. She's probably stronger now because, like, she's been training, but, like, I'm sure she's not used to, like, having 10 guns on her, I'm making up numbers, but, like, the ridiculous amount of stuff she has on. But she doesn't say anything, she lets it go, and as, Karan's, like, putting everything on her, she compares his eyes to the monsters that she sees while she's sleeping watching her. Then Karen says, "I'll decide whatever is necessary for your protection. You're a Nubiana woman. We've been doing this for years." And Alexis like, "That's sexist." And Karen's like, "I don't care. I never said I was a good man." And she's like, "Walking red flags, my husband." So then Alexis just heads turns Drax and he offers, they talk about like a suicide pact. But really this is them just bonding as friends, right? Like this has to be a lot for Drax going through. She's probably nervous too, so they're just like feeling all types of ways. Then Artemis like leaps in for Hades because Hades and Ares are tracking unusual Titan activity, and so Artemis gives everyone their orders. And the one thing I want to say is I do wish that the author picked different names because when we're like Hades, all their names are so like similar, and then you have Alexis, Augustus. There's another A1, Artemis, Athene. Like there's so many, just like I wish we had just like called Alexis like Jennifer or something, or like I don't know, just like not another A name because there's just so many of them. And so Agatha, another A name, Agatha and Drax are sent to Canada to find a Titan. Then she gives Augustus and it says his partner, aka her son, but she won't say it, coordinates to the Amazon. And while she is giving the coordinates, she has like fog power like Hades. And she uses this power on Charon and it's clearly hurting him, but she's not touching like anyone else. Like she's not touching Petro, she's not touching Achilles or Augustus in this fog. Like she's literally just targeting her child, but hurting him. Then Artemis tells the Crimson Duel that them and Alexis, like she gives them their coordinates, and their coordinates change last minute. They're headed to Rome, which is a protected area. And there shouldn't be any Titans because it isn't a protected area. However, they're headed there because there's just been unusual activity. The Federation passed a new decree that whoever catches a Titan, they have to put like this, they have to like tag it. So they have to put like this pin in its lips. And the pin identifies each like assembly of death members. So like Hercules / Alexis has hers, Augustus has his, Petros has his. Then Artemis gives us some interesting information before she leaps away. And she says, because of Medusa, the Federation is watching us closely. Don't return until you've captured your Titan. Medusa has ruined our plans to surprise the Olympians. War is already escalating. These are dark, dark times for Thonix. Beware. End of chapter. Thoughts?
To me, this chapter was a lot of setup.
Oh, 1000%.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was like there's information, we know who's involved, we know who's going where, but this was really just like setup. But because there's so much setup in this chapter, that final bit at the end of Medusa is ruining our plans is like, hmm? What did you just say? You have plans? Right?
Exactly.
But it's like it's so minimal in there compared to all the other intel that you get that it's super easy to miss.
Yes.
Super easy.
And they throw it at like the end of the chapter, and at this point you're also like, I want to know clearly as a reader. I know the next few chapters are going to be this Titan battle, so like as a reader I'm just like eager to get to like the next chapter, and they just like throw this in here. But I did highlight this the first time go around, so that's what I'm saying. I was so smart using my new.
The beginning of this chapter is just a continuation of the dynamic of like Alexis being a brat about her husband's actually giving a shit about her, and
Mhm.
because that's not a dynamic that like I understand. I just sit there sometimes and I'm like, girl, just let them give you knives. Like, what the fuck? Why is everything an issue? Just let them give you some
Uh,
knives. Ah,
It is true, they are caring for her, and they're trying to do their best while being far away, right? Because they have to uphold their end of the Federation details. But again, this is where I'm gonna keep coming back to this. What was this goddamn deal that everyone agreed to? Because Helen says mutual like destruction. So like what did the Thonic like leaders agree? Like clearly they had to agree that they were gonna be the ones in the assembly of death. But like what did the Olympians have to give up for this? And like what else are the Sonic leaders keeping from the, I guess, children Sonics? I don't know, the younger ones? Because there's so much more to this, like, yeah.
Yeah, and I was actually like, as you said, like, what are the, like, elders keeping from the children? I totally thought about that of, like, yes, these people are immortal. So who knows how long ago, like, whatever agreement it was that was made, but it
Mhm,
clearly wasn't made by the main characters that we deal with now, right? It clearly wasn't made by Petra, Achilles, like, Augustus,
mhm.
like, aren't like, none of them, right? So I think that's also where it's kind of intriguing of, like, Medusa has ruined our plans, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, there's a part of it where I'm like, could you guys have, like, figured out how to tell her? Like, what if part of your plan was like, "Yo, we're gonna fuck these guys up, and then we're gonna bust you out of the underworld." Is there a way to send a message to the underworld? Do you get Mike
Ooh,
Tyson and one of his pigeons to, like, help you out here? Like,
well, in theory, Hercules, I'm sorry. In theory, Hades does run the underworld. So I feel like, yes. Like, at the end of the day, the answer to this question is yes.
but that's where I'm like, I'm suspecting that whatever this plan is created by the children of these Sonic houses. It's created like, I don't know that it's, like, the main characters that we're dealing with, but maybe, like,
Mm,
a
the
generation
the
in between
parents.
or something,
Yeah.
where they're now like, "Oh my god, why did our parents make this deal? It's fucked up. It doesn't, like, benefit anybody. We're gonna rebel against it." Right?
Mhm.
And you have to make sure that Hades doesn't know, because Hades is gonna be like, "Nah, nah, 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 nah," right? You have to make sure Persephone doesn't know. You have to make
Yeah.
sure, like, Ares doesn't
Yeah.
know. So, I thi there's little bits there, right? And it kind of like, for some reason, it reminded me of, like, wine production, where,
Oh.
like, when younger generations take over wineries, they'll continue making the same wines, right? Because it's like, yeah, that's how you make money, and that's what people expect of you. But then they'll also start making their own wines. And it will, like,
Mm.
usually be a different style or a different thing, right? And, like, and a lot of younger generations, as they're taking over wineries, they don't give a shit about the rules of the wine region that they're in. They're like, "I just wanna make what I wanna make. I wanna make what me and my friends wanna drink," right? So, like, they make stuff that can't be labeled in a legal fashion because 'cause they're just like, "Yeah,
Oh.
whatever." And so it kinda makes me think of that it's like a younger generation now who's like, we didn't agree to this. We're out. We're out."
No, I love it because honestly, I do think that's where this is going because especially, like, I think it's easy, or we can all agree that, like, all the men don't want the women doing this. And like I said, like the women are in the assembly of death. Like Artemis is in the assembly of death. Persephone, or not I guess technically Persephone is, but no one touches Persephone because she's on her own little island or whatever. But Aphrodite technically is in the assembly of death. And I just go back to, I understand Augustus doesn't want Helen to be in it, but you're setting her up for failure because as we can see, it doesn't matter. She's at the end of the day, she's Sonic. Whether you want it to be or not, she needs to know how to fight, and her, like, being all cutesy, and she got kidnapped very easily. Like, that should have been the biggest, like, warning sign. She needs to be taught more stuff. So, yeah. Well, we can only see what the rest of this book, holds for us. So chapter 9, Poison Tongues. This is an Alexis chapter. So the Crimson Duo and Alexis arrive in Rome and they cannot find the Titan. And this is not unusual because Titans all have different habits. So Alexis is like, well, why can't I hear them or see them? And Petro's like, they all like hunt differently. Like this is fine. We just have to, find it. And Rome isn't the way that like we would know Rome as. It's in ruins. And Petro tells Alexis, don't worry, stay behind us. We'll take the lead. and we'll handle this because it's your first mission. Just observe and learn. And so I do think this is Petro's way of, protecting her in quotes. And then Alexis thinks, uh, another great quote. Great. Men making all the important decisions. I was worried because our life is not like that at all. And so while they look for the Titan, Petro decides this is a great time to like talk to Alexis. And Achilles is against it right away. He's like signing, stop. This is not the time. And Petro keeps going. Petro apologizes for the way they were in the beginning as mentors, and they want to offer penance. And Achilles tries to do this like 5 different times, tries to make Petro shut up, and Petro keeps going. And then Petro says they want to make up for like everything that they did to her by offering her a way out of her marriage, and that they can help sever the marriage bond. Nick's like gas. Like I forgot Nyx was even a character. Nick's like gas, because she loves Karen and Augustus. And then Fluffy Jr. steps protectively in front of Alexis. And Petro says that, your marriage is making you miserable. And Alexis thinks, no, life is making me miserable. There's a difference. So she unknowingly like is defending her husband. So like again, there's just like she feels something for them, but she's not admitting she feels something for them. And then Petro admits that him and Achilles have been looking into like marriage bonds, and they think they found a way to break the Spartan oath, essentially divorcing them. Turns out that Alexis' blood power is the key. If Alexis can bring her husband to like the brink of death, it will sever the bond. And Alexis is taken back, and she's like, "But these are your brothers, like literally and figuratively." And she's like, "You're trying to kill them?" And Petro's like, and Petro being Petro, defense's answer, and it's like, "We're not gonna actually kill them. Just bring them to the brink. Like they're strong, they'll recover." And Alexis asks why, like, why are you doing this? And Petro says it's because what they did to her was wrong. And Alexis is not buying this. And she mentions even at this point that she wished she had his power so that she could like know if he was telling the truth. And then she asks, like, what else? And Petro says, there's no other reason. And Alexis calls them out on their bullshit. And she says, oh, it's not because you're both under 26 and you're not looking for a wife, someone's on it. And then Petrol calls Alex, and this is like the third time he's called her Alex in like this chapter. And Alexis like snaps and tells him, "Stop calling me Alex." And then Petrol says, "This is not just about wanting to marry a Thonic. We aren't like them. We're actually worried about you. Forget everything like I said, like enjoy your fucking wedding bliss." And then Alexis catches him in his lie, and she was like, "Oh, so not only because I'm Thonic." Then Petrol does what he does best and, starts to taunt. He's hurt. His feelings got hurt. He needs to be like a strong man and, starts to taunt Alexis back about her husband's like not being gentle lovers. Achilles this whole time is like signing for Petrol to like shut up. And he's like signing, "This isn't what we planned. You're ruining everything." And Alexis like confronts them and says, like, "You almost sound jealous. Or did you want to marry them?" And again, pisses them off. They start their taunting. And again, Achilles keeps signing, "Shut up. This is not what you're wanting. You're losing control. We should have done this at a better time. This isn't what you wanted to say." And then Alexis says, "Oh, please enlighten me. How is this supposed to go down?" Then they both look at Alexis, and Achilles signs, "How long have you known Roman Sign Language?" End of chapter. So that was like a quick little chapter, but we got some information. Again, Achilles is the level-headed one. Petro needs a Xanax, probably. I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, okay, wait, I might be jumping ahead. Is this also the chapter? Because, right, okay, so Alexis is being a brat again, duh. And she's going back and forth with them and sassing. Is this when they figure out that she knows sign language? Is this the chapter?
Yeah, he literally just says right now, "How long have you known sign language?"
Yeah.
So the next chapter, she admits she's known it as a child, but they don't really go into it more. But they realize now that she knows sign language.
Yeah. And I was very intrigued by the way that like Petro didn't seem bothered by that, but like Achilles was much more, right? And he like his reaction to it is very much like invasion of privacy, right? This
Mhm.
like And I mean, I can kind of get it, right? If you're capable of speaking multiple languages and you think you're having a private conversation with somebody because it's in a different language, I can understand how it would be alarming that somebody all of a sudden is like, "Oh, I understand you." Like,
Mhm.
right, proves to you in some sort of way. Um, but I'm very intrigued by what seems to be the level of betrayal that he feels around that.
Well, I love to piggyback, and it's not that he knows different languages, it's his one language was taken away from him.
Yeah.
So, he only has this language, and I agree, like, and he signed all types of stuff, like, and we've seen that, like, in book 1, and he just thought this whole time that, like, only Petrol knew. But I also think it might be a form of betrayal too, because if knows that, what other communications could they have had behind closed doors, right? Like, could he have gotten to know Alexis a little bit better without Petrol there, because now they can understand? Could there have been times, like, when they were going up that mountain where he could have, like, participated and, like, by not admitting that, she took away, like, a bonding moments that they could have had, or even life and death situations, like, if they were ever somewhere and, like, literally no one else around them knows, people think he's talking to Petro, but he could also be, like, talking to Alexis and, like, just keep it, like, I think he just feels like he was just, like, left in the dark in, like, this big secret, so.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I can see that, but I mean, it benefits the story for them to
Mhm,
not know, right? Because then we actually get to see the real conversations that the 2 of them as mentors have together, right?
mhm,
And it's also I mean, Alexis says it straight up that, like, she's not gonna let them know because she sees it as a way of protecting herself,
mhm,
you know? And she even instructs Charlie, like, "Don't let them know,"
yep,
you know? And, I mean, I think there were conversations between Petros and Achilles where if Achilles had known that Alexis understood sign language, the conversation wouldn't have happened or it would have gone differently, right? And even though Achilles is presenting as the one who's, like, more level-headed and like, "Hey, you need to chill. This wasn't the plan," yada, yada, yada. Don't know that in what we've seen of the relationship between Petros and Achilles, that even if Achilles knew that Alexis understood and could sign, I don't know that it would have changed the dynamic that much.
interesting.
Because there are other people who can communicate with Achilles, and Achilles still
Nope, it's only Petro, really, no one else knows Roman Sign Language, at least they
all the
haven't
rest
told
of them
us.
do?
Nope.
Ugh, that's
Like,
rude.
Augustus, like, I mean, I'm sure there might be ways where, like, Augustus, like, says something and he nods, or, they have, like, things or whatnot, but from my understanding, the only people who know Roman Sign Language right now is Petro, Charlie, and Alexa.
Imagine
Wouldn't surprise me if, like, Hades knew low key, or Persephone, and they're just keeping that shit behind closed doors, like, that wouldn't surprise me, yeah.
that's just weird to me. I'm like, "Y'all, this is your friend, this is your brother, this is, like, a member of your close-knit community, and you didn't bother learning how to communicate with him?
Yeah, nope. Maybe they're not as close as they think so.
Yeah, that's fucked up."
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, like, I totally see a Achilles' point where he's like, because I feel like this was, again, his usual way was taken away from him, so, like, he could have communicated with another person, like, bonded, like, things that he can't normally do because he took this oath for this muzzle,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
I think I just took it in the basic way that the book presented of, like, it seemed like he was upset because now he's realized that Alexis has understood everything he said.
Oh, I think it's a part of that. I think it's both. I wish we got more Achilles chapters on this because we don't, but I really wish we did. So, but okay, chapter 10, sign language. So we go a little bit more into their sign language stuff, but I think we get more other information from this chapter. So Achilles signs again, like, how long have you known? She admits she's known as a child, but she doesn't say Charlie knows yet. Like, she's still protecting Charlie. Like, she's just like, it's just me. Like, I don't know. But I do think at this point, Achilles is smart enough to know that, like, put two and two together, because Charlie also doesn't talk, right? So I think at this point it's safe to assume everyone now knows that like that's how Charlie and her communicate. And then, again, Achilles just pissed and like asks why she didn't say anything, and she says because she was scared. And now Petro always ruins everything. So now Petro gets in and like resorts to his old ways and like calls Alexis a bitch because she's acting like this after everything they've done for her. They fed her and dressed her. And now I'm thinking Petro's an unreliable narrator. As much as we thought Alexis was an unreliable narrator, Petro's an unreliable narrator because he did do all that, but he did it reluctantly and he did it because of the goal of being generals. And he taunted her the whole time. Like he didn't do it because he wanted to, but we know this. Anyways, he grabs Alexis and he uses his powers and he was like, "Why didn't you tell us?" And then she says, "Because you made me feel worthless, you made me want to die." And because Petro's using his powers, he knows that she's telling the truth. And like now he's taking it back. Alexis gets emotional, everyone's kind of a little sad. And then Nyx confronts Alexis and is like, I can kill them. I can bite them. And Alexis is like, "No, don't kill him yet." And she's like, "Okay, that's my girl. That's my girl." Then all of a sudden, kids start approaching. The kids start like fangirling. I don't know what another word I could use for that, but they get all excited because the Crimson Duo are there. They're like their idols. So, and this kind of breaks the tension, with them. And then like the men are like, "Haha, stay in school, be smart, kid." But it kind of like breaks the tension that was going on. So then after they like leave the kids, the three of them just start walking through Rome, and then like hours later, they finally find a Titan. In fact, they find two Titans and they have wings, which is not normal, and Titans cannot fly. And the book says their wings, the leathery appendages that were a patchwork of mismatched puckered flesh that appeared to be sewn together. The seams and the seams were connected to their skin were swollen, oozing of infection. Mary Shelley herself wouldn't have like dreamed this up. So, remember when I said last episode we got this like information on the Spartan doctor? So now I'm like, is this the Spartan doctor doing this? Is it someone who's, I don't know, like financing this doctor's ways, or is it someone who like is just very interested in the doctor's work and is doing this? But clearly these wings were given to or sewn on to the Titans. They weren't like born with them. So the Titans zero in on Alexis, but the Crimson Duel do what they do best and they start like shooting at the Titans. And Alexis makes like a cross over her face. And I love this because this is how I read this. She's like, "Even as I walk through the shadow of death." And I immediately started to think of Gangster Paradise. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Da, 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 da.
That's
I
funny
was like dying.
because I know the Lord's Prayer because of Prince's controversy.
Oh, I mean, she's clearly doing a prayer
Yeah,
because she does this.
yeah.
But I just like read that and I immediately started thinking of Gangsta's Paradise. And while she's doing this sign, she's pretty much saying, "I will fear no evil. You are with me. Your rod, your staff, they comfort me." And so rod and staff are like mentioned a lot throughout these next few chapters in relation to like medicine and things. So I just thought I also highlighted this back in, when I read the first time. Back to the Titans. So Achilles and Petros like unload their guns onto the Titans, and the Titans like fight back and like run towards Achilles and Petro, but they hit Petro, and Petro goes flying. And like Petro hits a wall, but when he hits like the wall, he hits his head really badly. And when he lands, his head falls at an unnatural angle and he's not getting up. Achilles is now in between the Titans and Alexis, and like the Titans are now focused on Alexis. And Achilles sees Petro and like runs to him as the Titans run towards Alexis, and he like reaches for Petro's body and he grabs him and leaps away. End of chapter. Have anything interesting to say? I think the next chapter is a little bit more interesting,
Sleep
but
away
yeah.
too. That's my
Yeah.
man. That I like. Okay, and here's the thing: is I can get it right. There's all of this setup of like, we're gonna help you. We're your mentors. Blah 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 blah. But as readers now, we know that this is pretty much bullshit because it's just like they want her to break her bond and marry them so that they can stay together in their gayness, right?
Mhm. But when you say they, it's really Petro because Achilles is, and we find this in the next chapter, Achilles not really down for this cause. Like, he's only doing it for Petro.
Right. But Achilles also is not presenting a different solution.
Oh,
Achilles is
interesting.
not coming to Petros and saying, like,
Mm,
yo, like, let's just go along with this marriage law or whatever. And then, we'll just have to explain to our spouses, like, you are number two, he is number one, right?
gotcha.
He's not
Okay.
presenting a better plan. So he's not giving Petros something else to focus on, something else to work towards, right? You can tell him all you want, you're going about this wrong, but you're not telling him how to go about it right. You're not giving him a different plan that like you can get behind,
Mhm.
you know.
I didn't even think of it like that. I love that actually. Yes.
And it's I mean, in the behavior that we see from Petro in the previous chapter, it makes it kind of unbelievable when he tells us as readers like I care about her, we care about her, when he tells Alexis we care about you. He's so back and forth with that. It makes it difficult to actually believe that he is into his own plan.
Mm. Ooh, I like that too. Didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah, I
Uh,
100% leap away. I don't care if I'm your mentor. I don't care if I'm supposed to be protecting you. You're a fucking brat. You irritate the bejesus out of me all the time. This is the
oh
person
my
who I
god.
love. This is my life partner. I have hot, hot sex with them, and I think they are dead. You fucking bet I'm out of there. I am out of there.
Oh, I love that. I mean, I think a lot of things could have happened during this. First of all, they all could have leaked. Just like the obvious. They all could have fucking leaked, but there would be no plot if they had. So, that's definitely out the door. Um, but let's get into Achilles' point of view because I do think because we got I think an Achilles one last chapter or last book. It was very short. This one was a little bit longer. And the thing that I loved about in this book is we're getting so much of the men's perspectives and we're seeing their vulnerability, what matters most to them, what are like their true weaknesses. Like Petro is clearly Achilles' like true weakness. Like we joke and be like, your Achilles heel. No, like Petro is his Achilles heel, right? So I think we like just see a different side and I do like it. Because I think it makes them a little bit more human in the sense, right? Like they're assholes with a heart, still assholes, but we'll continue. Okay. Chapter 11, the dragon, Achilles, 1 minute earlier. So Achilles is shocked to see that the Titans have wings because they normally do not. So I'm going to ask again who gave them wings if they're not supposed to have it. Achilles sees the man who has owned his soul laying broken, bleeding, and his neck bent at an unnatural angle. Achilles glances at Alexis and sees like no hope in her eye, like only understanding. And he looks back at Petro, and Achilles thinks to himself, if I could, this is something else I want to touch upon. If I could use my Chronos given talent, the Titans would be handled easily, but the Federation had me neutered as they deemed me, too strong to be able to do anything. I've never regretted anything more than taking the Spartan oath, and I wish I could take this off. Oaths, like protector bonds, are forever. A lifetime of imprisonment in the underworld would have been preferable than to this torment that he's currently feeling. And so then we go again. What was this thing agreed on? That like they all agreed if he could kill the Titans in 2 seconds and this wouldn't be an issue, like why don't we? If the Titans, because in the book one, the Titans are overruling, they're so powerful. That's why we have to have the Assembly of Death. If he could just take care of this easily, then why is he muzzled? Like, why is all of this going on?
Okay, sure. But if you are someone who has such a power that you can basically save the world, save Sparta,
Mhm.
right, from Titans, are you then Zeus? Are you then the most powerful? Are you then Hades?
Oh, no, I think that's exactly why he has his muzzle on. Yes,
Yeah,
I think because the kid is so powerful. Yep.
yeah. And so, look, people who are in power want to stay in power, right? Like, it's an addictive thing. So I could totally see that whatever agreement is made by, the current rulers of these houses, that there's a possibility that they were also like, "Oh yeah, this one, we gotta knock him down. We gotta make sure he can't function at his full potential. Otherwise, he's gonna be running this show, and we like running this show."
Hmm. That's also interesting. No, I agree with you. Like, so I don't disagree with you on that. But I think it's interesting because the book also is very much on like the heirs and the next to take over the house, like the houses and whatever. And it's like, well, isn't there supposed to come a time where they do this? Like, and then mind you, these are their children. So like as parents, like wouldn't you want your kid to? I mean, Aries seems like an asshole in the chapter that we got last episode, and the little bit more that we're about to get in this one in like 3 paragraphs. Aries is an asshole, but not that I'm defending anyone, but playing devil's advocate, he is the god of war. So like I do think you need to have a certain, I don't know if gravitas is the word I'm looking for, but you do need to have a certain type of like personality or understanding if you're going to be the god of war, right? Like that's a lot of bloodshed, that's a lot of whatever. Now whether you're letting it go to your head is a different, that's a different topic, but I don't think everyone can be in the house of war, right? Like that's a lot to like undergo as just like an individual by itself. So, but Achilles realizes that time is passing and he like needs to make a decision. Blood is just pulling around Petro and his body isn't moving. Spartans could survive extreme physical damage, but they were not invincible if his spinal cord was severed or lungs punctured. And with the blood that was pooling, if it was going internally, he could fall into a deep coma. So as Achilles thinks for his love for Petro, Petro is his everything. In fact, the book says he is the reason I woke up, the reason I've bothered to breathe, the source of any joy I've ever found in my miserable wasteland of civilization. He is my beating heart. It is not him who's obsessed with Alexis, it's Petro, right? Like it's not Achilles. Achilles is not obsessed with Alexis. Petro's obsessed with Alexis. And so during the months while she lived with them, she fit, like she did fit with them. But she fit with them because she didn't disrupt the obsession and the devotion that Petro and Achilles had for each other. Petro thought that this could be something more, and he wanted a chance for them to have the happy ending that Sparta refuses to give them. But Augustus and Charon claimed her first. So Achilles then goes on to say is that he has this possessiveness, and the possessiveness is taking over him. And apparently, passion and possessiveness are traits of the house of Aries. And then Achilles thinks back to when Augustus and him were at the house of Aries together. Achilles doesn't know how or like he really can't pinpoint when that Augustus like can just be so calm and contain his wrath in front of others when he himself struggles to like show that. And Augustus is the eldest heir, so like, makes sense that he needs to like put on this face. But we also find out in this chapter that Achilles remembers a younger crying Augustus the day that he got his scar from Ares. Ares slashed his face with a poison Valkan like blade, and this is a metal forged to scar immortal. So then, when I read this the first time, I immediately started to think, well, everyone has a facial scar in the House of Aries. Aries has his. We know where Augustus is, but we've never talked about Achilles' scar. And obviously, his muzzle covers like his whole thing. So I assume the muzzle is covering his scar. But then it's like, ooh, like how is his scar? Like where is his scar? Like not where, but like his cheek, like like where is it covered? So I'm like very curious about his scar now. But anyways, Achilles just has to make a decision at this point, Alexis or Petro. The Titans are screeching. He has no time. Achilles bends over and picks up Petro's body. Before he leaps away, he looks over at Alexis and sees like just acceptance in her face. Alexis understands. So, and so now Alexis is running for her life, and Achilles leaps to the hospital with Petro. And this chapter ends with Alexis just learned the hardest truth of all. Agony is the second name for Thonix. Either we are the loneliest creatures or beings on this earth, or we love so obsessively with our entire soul. Complete devotion or nothing. There's no in between. End of chapter. So I do think she's learning that with her husband, but she's also learning that like in cases where like she needs to defend herself.
Yeah.
Right. So
And I'm also, I
um
mean, I love that Augustus looks over at her and she's just resigned. I'm like, bro, have you not been paying attention this entire time? When is this girl
Achilles, you mean?
when is this girl not like, I'm gonna die? Like,
Yeah. No, literally.
that's her whole vibe. Her whole vibe. And I'm like, you're just now noticing this? Like, where have you been for an
I
entire
love it.
book and some chapters? Like, come on, buddy. But yeah, I like,
Well, he couldn't communicate with her, so he never got to see this side of her.
it's like on her face. Come on. There's no way that she isn't just all the time just like I am in
I
my
agree.
mind, I imagine she looks like Daria. Like her face.
Oh,
Her face is just this constant like Daria resting bitch face thing.
oh my god, she's not doing the little dance, like, the little dance stuff. She's definitely not doing that. I don't even know if she knows how to thrust her hips at this point, but yeah.
No. But I mean, I mean, the thing is too that I appreciate is like Alexis sees this and she gets it. I think she has some sort of understanding that if she were in the position of Achilles, she'd be doing the same thing.
Oh, I don't think so.
I think she does.
I That's very interesting. I don't think she would. I think she respects the decision and she doesn't blame him for making that decision. And I don't know, maybe if it was Charlie or something, I guess, but she's very big into saving other people. That is her thing. Like putting others before her own.
If it were Charlie, she 100% would have done the exact same thing.
Okay, I love it.
100%. Even think about what she did with Helen, right?
Oh,
She doesn't have, I mean, she was developing that closeness with Helen, right? And she probably has that like maybe a little bit more now. But
mhm,
even with like what she put her body through to be able to save Helen, right? So I'm
of
not saying
course.
she would do this for her husbands, because then you're, I don't know, are you gonna, yeah, that fucks with the dynamic a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But if that were Charlie, 100%, she would have done the same thing.
Oh, I love it. It's a very interesting qualm to be like just thing to be in. I do think things could have done differently. So like obviously we're about to read this next chapter and Alexis fights the Titans, but like why couldn't Achilles have leaped Petrol to the hospital and then leap back? Like in my head, leaping takes 30 seconds, right? Leap, dropped him off, leaped back, didn't even have to fight. I get it. He wants to stay by Petrol's side. Leap, just grabbed her and leaped back.
She can leap. She can leap. What?
She went. Oh no, I mean I understand, but at the end of the day, they were supposed to. I agree with that, but at the end of the day, like Agatha is supposed to be protecting Drax right now, and like they are supposed to be protecting her.
Fuck
Like,
that. No, I'm out. I am out. If I see you and you're like, and like your neck ain't working and I leap you to the hospital, I'm not leaping back to save some brat who irritates the piss out of me that you're obsessed with and it's messing up our relationship. Hell no. I know she knows how
uh,
to leap. I mean, I know she's a shitty shot or whatever, but like, figure it out. It's time for brat girl to figure out her shit. I'm busy.
I love it.
I'm busy.
I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this because we're about to get into. Once I go into this chapter, there's like a part in here where I'm like, these people deserved it at this point. Anyways, though, but chapter 12, I love this title. Oh my gosh. The author in this book, I think, gave me so many more like little one liners that I absolutely love. But fighting to the death and other womanly pursuits.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's a good one. If
Uh,
you give me a chapter titled like Men on Their Knees or something like that, why was there no blowjob?
I think it was them on their I agree. I agree. I agree. But I think it was more like on their knees of like forgiveness.
Yeah, no, not what I wanted. I like,
To be fair, when I read that, I also thought
I saw the
somewhat.
name and I was like, And I was just like,
Yeah.
"Ugh."
I also thought some shit was gonna go down, even if it was between Achilles and Petro. I also thought with that title some shit was gonna go down, but they made it more like in a not blowjobby way, but which we learned at the end of that chapter because we didn't get any spice. But yeah, okay, chapter 12, fighting to the death, other womanly pursuits. It's an Alexis chapter. So Alexis is like running away, and to your point, she could leap. But then she thinks to herself, I would only prove Augustus right. Men would always need to take care of me. So Alexis decides to keep running. And Nyx is also encouraging her to keep running. And when I say encouraging, Nyx just yelling in her ear, like, get the fuck out of here, keep running. She's just yelling things at her to try to get her to be safe. Both Titans appear in front of Alexis. And Alexis is like, she literally says, I'm ready to die. And I love this because she's like kind of saying it in her humorous way, but like she's also kind of serious. She's like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to fight these two titans. So Alexis gets her guns out, and Fluffy Jr. is like ready to attack. And Nyx again is still trying to get her to leave. She's just like, come on, girl, like let's get out of here. And then there's a camera flash. And the Titans are now intrigued with the shiny thing that flashed because who wouldn't be, right? And Alexis missed this because it's in like her blind spot. So right as Alexis was going to leap, she notices a group of elderly people. Nyx continues to tell Alexis, girl, leave. We're taking care of ourselves. We're not worried about anybody else. But Alexis just thinks to herself about a statement that Persephone made at the beginning of the book. And Persephone had said, were the human casualties avoidable? And she thinks about this about 3 times in this chapter, like, were the human casualties avoidable? So Alexis raises her guns and she fires at the Titans. Fluffy Jr. like leaps and attacks one of the Titans and like right away pulls out the Titan's throat. Alexis like keeps shooting. She's out of bullets. She tries to reload, and because there's like the other Titan, and Fluffy Jr. just attacks the second Titan and like gets it in the arm. And now Nyx is saying, Nyx was also lovely in this chapter. Now Nyx is like, genuine question: are you trying to die? Because if not, we should be running away right now. And Alexis like can't figure out the guns because she doesn't can't figure out to reload. She just grabs her daggers. Fluffy's still like biting the arm. Nyx says, don't you dare, Alexis. I have not raised you from a hatchling for you to throw away your life for some random humans. Mind you, she found Alexis when she was like 11. But Nyx loves her like she's been with her for so long that she like loves her. And then Alexis is like, nope. She gets ready to attack, and Nyx is like, fine, but you better survive this. And she like slithers off of her. And now she also starts attacking the Titan. So now the Titan's like getting bit by Nyx and Fluffy Jr. Alexis like grabs her daggers and like into the Titan's chest and like tries to like pull like the Titan down or whatever. But as she does that, the Titan like slices open her back. Alexis is in pain, but like she needs to like keep fighting back. And so she does open the Titan's chest, and so she uses her powers. And so pretty much between her powers, Fluffy Jr. and Nyx, they are able to take the Titan down. Alexis tries to like handcuff the Titan. This whole time she's thinking like, I, Petro said I wouldn't have to worry about this part, but she literally cannot do it. And then all of a sudden they hear the other Titan that Fluffy Jr. pulled his throat out of. They hear it starting to heal. And then the Titan like gets up, grabs Alexis, and like shoots up to the sky. And so like now the Titan and Alexis are both in the air, Fluffy Jr. and Nyx are on the ground. Alexis doesn't know what to do. All she knows is that she's getting squashed and like she can't breathe. And then she's like, "Oh, I can leap." She knows she shouldn't leap because her back is split open. And the last time she did this shit, she caused herself, I guess, to be in a coma where like face was swollen and everything. But she's like, at this point, I'm gonna die either way, so I might as well just try. So she leaps. So both her and the Titan are now on the ground, and they like hit the table where these old people are at. Fluffy Jr. attacks like the Titan again, but the elderly people who stayed, I just want to make this known. These elderly people, so you're not even in your prime, not to be an asshole to old people, right? Not to be an asshole to old people. But let's be honest, if me and the 80-year-old were to run it out right now, I'm gonna win. Like, even if I wasn't fit, I'm probably gonna win. So these elderly people who are in a ruined area anyway, so clearly like I feel like touch a building that's gonna fall down, they're just staying there. First, they bring a camera and decide to take a picture of it. Also, They're in the year 20, 30, 80, 70, whatever. They don't got phones that just snap with no flash, like like so first you attract the Titan and then you stay there. So in my head, quite frankly, if any of you all get hurt, you deserve it because you didn't even try to run.
It's also daytime. It's daytime.
But yeah, I think it is,
Why
yeah.
is a flash going off?
It's for the plot of the book, but
Mm.
yeah.
But yes, there are nuances in the writing where I'm like, "Huh? That makes
Plot of the book, yeah. Um, so when they like her and the Titan like fall on like the table thing that they were on, all the elderly people are there. They're like gasp, but turns out one of the elderly people is hurt very badly. Like her, they make it seem like her intestines were coming out. Her name was Lucia, and Alexis tries to like help her, but there's like a Titan problem, so she can only like help her for so long, and she's pretty much like just keep pressure on her wound, and she like goes back to the Titan. And so she does try to get to her defense. Alexis does try to get the pager, but because they like fell, the pager is destroyed, so she can't call for Augustus. So now Nyx is back on Alexis. Fluffy Jr. is also trying to help, but then the second Titan wakes back up. So now she's against two Titans. And all she can do is because she thinks she has to defend these people is we got to stay here. So she starts to attack both Titans. One of the Titans slashes Alexis's ear off, and then it gets destroyed in the process. Alexis can like feel at this point. Alexis can like feel her marriage bonds, but like she's trying to fight back. There's a little bit more tussle, but like at this point, she's done. She has no energy. She's bleeding from her back. She's and I didn't say this, but she's leaped like 3 or 4 times at this point, trying to protect these old people. So like she truly has no energy. Nick like starts to lick her face and tries to get her to stand, but she can't. And so Alexis tells Nick she loves her. Tell like if she could tell like Fluffy Jr. and Charlie and Helen and Drax that she loves them as well. And then maybe, and so she doesn't finish that thought because a gun goes off. But we could also assume that she was gonna say, and maybe tell my hubbies that I love them. Then Augustus appears, and the way the book makes him sound, it sounds like he's like Fabio. Like his black and white hair is like the wind is like blowing, and he comes with these guns and he's just shooting them. And Alexis is like so getting turned on by him. She's like, oh, he's hot. And Augustus like is like chaining all the Titans together, and so she's thinking some other thoughts with these chains. And then all of a sudden, Charon is by Alexis, like he's trying to like get her up, and he notices that her ear is missing, and he can't even sew it back on because her ear is destroyed. So he grabs a knife and slashes his own ear off and gives it to Alexis. He also just happens to have a needle and thread in the middle of a battle, in the middle of a fight scene. So, lovely for so glad for him that he had this. And so he sews the ear back on Alexis. However, he doesn't know this is her bad ear. And Alexis, like, she can't talk, but she's trying to get him to stop. And he's just like not having it. And so, like, Augustus is like taking care of the Titans. Augustus finds her tags and he tags the Titans for her. And then he gives Augustus gives Alexis a little kiss on her forehead, and Poco's there too. And before this chapter ends, though, and this is kind of just like thrown in there, it says that during the fight, like Fluffy Jr. like grew, and now he has a hump on his back. End of chapter. How do you feel about the ear?
don't know that if she had been able to say to him, "Don't bother, I'm deaf in this ear," right?
Hmm.
Or if he knew previously that she was deaf in that ear, I don't know that it would have made a difference for him.
I have to agree. I agree. I think no matter what, he's proven time and time again that he would do whatever for her. So I agree.
And I think in that moment, he just immediately was like, "This is what I need to do. I have a limited amount of time for, like, my ear to, fuse onto her head or whatever." But I'm having this moment where I'm like, "Do we all have the same sized ears?"
Um, Again, he just had thread and a needle battle.
We love
I feel like
Steve Boy. Maybe you're, like, doing some embroidery on your, little trip or whatever. I'm here for it. But I can also see why he would, because in the first book, they did mention that, like, there is an amount of, like, right, like, you stitch your wounds shut, and there's, like, an amount of
Yeah.
time where you do it, and, like, it
Mhm.
heals or takes or whatever. So I could kinda see that being, like, part of the kit. But, I mean, from what we've seen from Karen, like, he's got these kind of, like, fucked up ideas of what's romantic, right?
Mhm.
Still romantic, and it's still caretaking, but I don't know that there's anything that she could have said that would have stopped him. Not because he was, like, already doing it, but because he saw this as, like, I'm giving to her, I'm providing
Mhm.
for her, I'm showing her that I'm dedicated, right? Like, I am literally giving you a piece of me. What
Mhm.
more do I have to do to prove to you that I want to be here, that I want to be here with
And it's not physical.
right.
Yes. Love it. I keep telling myself I'm gonna ask Keith if he would ever give me his ear. Keith's currently in Peru. We're meeting up in we're meeting up on Tuesday, so I'm gonna see if I can remember to record him and ask him like, "Hey, honey, I lost my ear in battle, and you could like give it to me, but only had like an hour. Would you so?" I cannot wait to see his reaction.
I don't see
How
okay,
come that guy?
cut off my own ear. I
Mm.
could not cut off my own ear, but I could sew an ear on you, I think.
Oh, honestly, same. I'm not cutting off any part of my body, but I would definitely sew
Like,
something that.
I can't do that. I can't do any sort of, like, self-injury or anything like that, like, total puss ass about it, right? I could never. But if somebody gives me an ear, I think I could sew an ear on a person.
Oh, love that. Yeah, I don't know if I'm giving my ear up personally, and maybe this is like the man female dynamic. I don't know. I think if it was maybe another body part that you absolutely needed a little bit more than a ear, maybe like you needed like a liver or something. Okay, cool. Like let's do that. But an ear, I don't know if I don't know if I'm doing that because at the end of the day, that's also like what's the word I'm looking for? Cosmetic, right? Like you can still function, you can still have a very normal life outside of that.
Yes.
But maybe I'm an asshole for that statement. I don't know.
So, like, he doesn't want his wife to not have an ear. He doesn't
That is true.
he doesn't
No, that is his way of
yeah,
caring. Yeah, I love.
he wants to look at this woman and be like, "She's hot and has 2 ears."
Mhm.
Not like, "God, remember that time we didn't protect her, now she only has 1 ear?"
I love it.
Right? He's saving himself from that.
Oh, that is true. That is true. And besides, he has to look at her because he clearly watching her every night, so
Yeah.
he can't have her not have an ear. So
One
yeah.
thing that I did really like about this chapter in particular is I feel like the way that the battle and the way that the injuries were described were really well thought out.
Mm,
Like, because we're recapping, we're just saying, like,
yeah,
yeah,
they fall.
like the Titan shredded Alexis's back open, right? But then when Karen gets there and starts describing it, it's like, wow, that's intense. Like, that is an injury like that should make a person not functional.
Yes. But true, she's also, but I okay, lots of things really quickly. I have to agree with you. I think the next, like, 3 chapters are very good, like, writing, at least detail-wise, because we have the battle, and then we're gonna get Karin's point of view, we get Augustus's point of view, and they all it's also great because, well, they're all seeing the same things, but they're all kind of seeing it differently too because, you know, it's how you perceive certain things. So, love that, but I do think because right now we're gonna get into Karin's chapter, and to your point, he describes it so much, but even before, there is I think the battle scene was very well. Again, I jumped over a lot, but when she's like she's bleeding, getting swung, Fluffy Jr. did this, Nick's doing this, she's like at this point, she's, like, bleeding from her back, she I think it's, like, bones broken or whatever at this point because the thing was, like, squeezing her, like, she literally is a mess right now, and she still chose to fight, so I think it was great writing.
Also, Fluffy
Um,
Jr. is a Pegasus.
oh, 1000%, if you didn't get that from book 1,
Yeah.
like, we're talking about Hercules, his pet is a Pegasus, like, Like, literally when she said, or I think Nick said it in book 1, "He looks like a fucking horse or some shit." I immediately knew who Fluffy Jr. was. I was like, immediately. I was like, "Oh,
But, like,
he's a Pegasus."
nobody in the book is calling it out. Nobody in the book is being like, "Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna be very honest.
this thing
Spoiler alert for anyone. Mm, they don't figure out he's a Pegasus until way at the end.
things turning into a horse." Every time
Yes.
you're like, "This looks more like a horse, and now it's got a lump on its back."
Yeah, like, I knew from book 1 this was a Pegasus, and I think the author wanted us to know because the clues are so obvious. So if you miss those clues, and there are multiple clues, and she started giving us these clues in book 1. And like every almost 90% of the time, anytime we talk about Fluffy Jr., we talk about how his size has grown, how he's looking like a horse, how he's doing non-dog things, how he's like, and we're only on chapter 13. Like I knew from the get-go it was a Pegasus. But I love Fluffy Jr. because he's like, no one wanted him and he's just being a badass. Like, um, I also think it's just funny because like we don't really see, we get a little bit in this chapter. I don't write it in my notes, but like I think it's also funny because like all of them have like badass animal protectors, and Augustus is here with his fucking raccoon, and they literally are like, while he is like shooting at these things, the raccoon just has a finger gun and is shooting. He doesn't even have real things. It's just raccoon. It's just there. I love little Poco. Okay, chapter 13, the hunter, Karin chapter. So now we get a Karin's point of view on the whole ear incident. So Karin finds Alexis on the ground, her ears destroyed. After him and Augustus fought their Titan, the Titan that Karin and Augustus fought like slashed um Karin's leg. So he's like hurt badly. Not as bad as Alexis, but like he's hurt pretty bad. And then it mentions that his back is hurting for no reason because he really wasn't hurt in his back. But none of this matters. All that matters is Alexis, his wife. And as you mentioned, we learned, I think it was earlier in the current chapter where he was telling us about how like he did the confederation thing when Artemis like disowned him. He was talking about his body parts, like you mentioned, like he's lost finger, toes in war, so he knows that there's a certain amount of time to give Alexis back a year if he's gonna give her back a year. So he doesn't even think about it. He like, is just gonna cut off his own ear. Aaron also makes a comment that Titans should not be flying. So at this point, Alexis has made that comment, Achilles has made that comment, and Karin has not made the same comment that they should not be flying. And he is also very impressed with his wife, who held off these two Titans alone because the assholes like left her, and they will pay for that. Also, while he's like currently like sewing her up, Alexis's body is accepting Karin's ear, so he's very happy that like her body's not rejecting it. But also not to like belittle anything Alexis did, but like she did do this by herself as in a person, but like Nyx and Fluffy Jr. helped a lot. So like they helped a lot. Meanwhile, Augustus is taking care of the current Titan situation. And then like as he like lifts Alexis, he notices her back. And to your point, it's described as like shredded. Her clothes are like adhering to it. It was like all this. I encourage you guys to read the chapter. It's very descriptive, very great. And he notices it because she's like trying to get up. And so Karin and then Alexis asks like, why are you here? And Karin's like, we were always coming back for you. Hell and Hound are also excited to see Alexis and how she's kind of sitting up, and they're like nuzzling her and they're like staying at Alexis' side. And Karin notices that his animal protectors are not by his side. They're not paying any attention to him. They're only paying attention to Alexis. So now we have Coco in the beginning was with Alexis and not with Augustus, and now Karin's animals are with Alexis and not him. And then Karin says, "Do you know who I am? I'm yours. You can break my legs and I'm still going to crawl after you. If you are injured, I will carve myself into pieces and make you whole every single time. This is not temporary arrangement. We will be together forever or I'll be dead. Don't tell me you don't feel it." And so Alexis admits she feels it, but it means nothing. And so then Karin kisses her. Augustus approaches and is like, "Why am I always finding you two kissing while you're bleeding out?" Fluffy Jr. also approaches, and Karen doesn't recognize him right away because he's like big like a horse, they say. And then since all three of them are hurt, they can't leap. So Augustus needs to take them to this safe house. And so he has to carry them two plus drag the three titans. So he literally is like carrying Alexis like bridal style. So I guess like this. And then he has Khan on his shoulder, and then like he's dragging the other titans. Karen nods in agreement. The House of Ares was the House of War for a reason. Their airship was earned through unfathomable pain and endurance. And so Augustus is like in pain, but he's hiding it, and he just like keeps walking forward. And then as he's like leaving to like go to the safe house, the group of elderly people who are there come and like confront Augustus and Kara and are asking like what are they gonna do with Alexis? And Lucy, I think that was her name, but the elderly woman who was like her intestines were like coming out, she is now standing and is like looks like she's still hurt, it sounds like, in the book she's still hurt, but like has enough energy to say like, "Who like what are you gonna do with her? She has protected us more than you, like she cares about us, like you guys are jerks, right?" And then someone calls out as like Augustus and Karen are walking, someone yells, Angelicus Roman, whatever. It just pretty much means the angel of Rome. And like everyone is like calling Alexis that as they're like walking through. So after they walk far enough from the humans, they see a figure. Achilles steps out from the shadows. And Achilles is very shocked to see how badly Alexis is hurt. Like, I guess he did not think she was going to get that hurt that badly. Augustus is pissed and tells him, "You abandoned her, you left her side. You disgust me, brother." End of chapter. Any thoughts before I get into Augustus's chapter?
Okay, well, Achilles should be shocked, right? I would too, because if I were Achilles, I would assume she's gonna leap away.
Yeah.
She's gonna leap away, right? Like these, like people as phonics, right? So not people, but phonics, whatever. They don't operate in a way of protecting outside of their own. So it never would have occurred to Achilles that Alexis would stay and hang out and protect a group of elderly people. It would
Okay, fair.
he like that's not thought process that would have happened in his brain because none of the rest of them operate like that. They have no life experience or life instruction that would lead them to believe that another Thonic would do that. So
I love this.
I would be just as shocked as he was to show up and be like, she didn't leap away? Like, what? But also, dude, you maybe should have not been seen. You maybe should have just like popped in, been like, oop, this is bad, and then pop right back out because
Yeah.
you done.
Well, this also goes to what I was saying earlier. Like he could have, because I agree. I do think my natural instinct would have been to grab Petra, right? As a jerk as he is, to grab Petra. He's my everything. But he could have got Petra, immediately gone back, grabbed Alexis, and like gone back to Petro. And then if Alexis jumped back, then that was on her, right? Like that was her decision, her choice. But he did what he was sent to do because technically her and Drax are like newbies, and that's the whole point of them not doing assignments by themselves is that they're assigned. Like then at that point it was in her hands. She was the idiot who went after it. Like that's what I would have done, honestly. But to your point, she was very healthy at the time and could have left. So you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, and also like as mentors and protectors, like even with her husbands, they have talked to her about you leap away, you just bailed, you get out of there, right?
Mhm.
Protecting yourself is the priority. This has been explained to her, and she continues to not do it because that's her thing. Is I don't do, it, right? Like, but if I were Achilles, I would have assumed that she would have leapt away, and
Mhm.
whatever. So to come back and like review the scene and see like she did not do what we instructed her to do, I would also be shocked.
Oh, I mean, I have to agree with you. I like this side because we both agree she should have left, but I'm like, "Oh, there could have been a different way to do it," but I'm loving this. All right, last chapter that we're gonna cover today, chapter 14, Eldest Heir, and Augustus chapter. So Augustus thinks the House of Ares is no place for cowards. He should have given Achilles Alexis to like leap to a hospital because all uh, Alexis, Augustus, and Karen are all hurt. But he's like, I'm never gonna trust him or Petro ever again with her. And so they make it to the safe house. Augustus changed the Titan into the cellar and puts Alexis like in there's like a king size bed. The Hellhounds and Fluffy Jr. like lay at her floor on the like at her floor like under the bed. Uh, Poco like climbs in, and like is brushing her bloody curls from his face. And like the book is like Augustus is like wrecked. And I could only imagine because he loves Poco so much. And like we got that in like an earlier chapter. And to see like the thing that you love so much, like so sad about the thing that you love now, I could only imagine that probably gave me all like little feels inside. But anyways, Augustus like thinks to himself he needs to clean Charon and Alexis and get up back into bed so they can heal. So he like goes into the bathroom and he like sets it all up. So he like runs the shower, he like gets the soap and conditioner because we have a lot of conditioner. And while he's doing all this, he sees himself in the mirror and blood is dripping from the corners of his eyes. Even though he isn't using his sonic powers, his headaches have gotten much worse, and his gut is telling him that something is happening with his power. But we also remember in chapter one, I believe, or two, we find out that he bleeds when he's also feeling very strong emotions. So he said he's not using his power. So he has nothing but like emotion right now. Like I'm sure he thinks that like Alexis was gonna die at some point. So he's just like literally like just feeling all of that. He heads back to bed, slaps Karin and says, "Get the fuck up and clean yourself." Then he goes to Alexis' side and is very sweet and gentle with her. He asks her if he can take off her clothes because he needs to clean her. He's like, "This is, I just need to like take care of you." Alexa says it's okay. So, gotta love consent. He pulls off her bloody clothes and carries her to the shower. He is still clothed fully. And he like starts to like clean her. Like he is like massaging her curls. He's like putting shampoo, conditioner. He's like wiping everything off. He's being very gentle. And while he's doing all this, he's telling her, "You were so strong. You were so brave. You're the strongest Sonic I've ever seen. You're powerful. You're intelligent, a math prodigy. I've never seen a more impressive warrior. You're so resilient, so good. You're going to change the world." So while he's doing all this, he's just like making her feel really good about herself. And Alexis whispers, "Thank you." And she like leans on Augustus at this point, and he tells her, like, "I will always take care of you." And so then Augustus thinks she is indeed like the angel of Rome. Humans seen the truth of her. They've seen her for like what she is. Unlike most Spartans, Alexis cares for others, even if it means like hurting herself. She will protect everyone, but who will protect her? Because he feels like they didn't protect her. Which I get that to differ. She's alive, so like you did protect her in the end. Maybe not to the extent you wanted to, but like she's not dead. She's not in a coma. So, you did your job. But then Augustus like remembers the crucible and how Alexis did everything to help the others, like tutor them, even when she had no energy. Like she really is good to her core. And then Augustus says, "We don't deserve you. Angels do not deserve this. You deserve better than us." And now Karin finally stumbles in and is like, "No shit. We never deserved her." And now he's like yelling, and Augustus is like, "Dude, figure it out because you gave her your ear, but like you're yelling and you're bothering her because you're screaming so loud." And then Augustus says that like, "No, but she deserves someone nice." And Karin says, "Oh, fuck off with all this melodramatic, self-loathing, all this uh air bullshit. Alexis is our wife. We aren't good for her. We're cruel, possessive, and aggressive. She's too good for all of Sparta, not just us. So what do we do with someone who's too pure for the world? We protect her. We make her ours so that everyone who looks at her is like scared in her direction. That's what Hades did for Stephanie. No one dares to look at her wrong. We need to do the same. She needs monsters. And this is precisely why and precisely why she needs monsters because she's not one. And that's why she has us. So Karan like finished bathing himself and then like passes the fuck out. Like he's like, "This is all I have." So like Augustus like 30 minutes later like drags Karan onto the bed. He like dries Alexis off. He puts Alexis in the bed. He bandages everyone up. he also gives them the last 2 shots of adrenaline and, like, medicine they have, so he can't take any. He gives it to Karin and Alexis so they can heal faster. As they're in bed, like, Karin, like, pulls Alexis to him and, like, cuddles with him. Augustus also bathes Poco, and Poco, like, climbs in next to Alexis and, like, hugs her neck because he's so tiny, and, Augustus can feel, like, in their marriage bond, like, the warmth that's going through, and then he gets a chair and he stays up all night, and he says he's gonna protect everyone, including the animal protectors and himself. No one is getting into this safe house. End of the chapter. Stop.
It was great. One, the chapter was very well written, and this is kind of like
Mhm.
a more lengthy Augustus chapter that we get, right? Previously, some of him have just been sort of like the ones that we get where we learn that Alexis isn't a reliable narrator, right? From the first
Yes.
book, right? They're pretty basic, but I mean, not to like I don't side with Augustus isn't the right way to phrase it, but I like the chapters where we are seeing these men realize that something about themselves is changing, right? His recognition that my power is changing and I don't know why, that like this bond is changing. I'm starting to feel different things with this bond. Um, and the caretaking is not just specifically like women shouldn't have to do this, right? Because that was all
Mhm.
of his sort of caretaking from the get go was women shouldn't be here. This is not an appropriate place for women, right? But now it's sort of more like there's two different levels of the caretaking because there's the initial here's the weapons, here's the pager, like leap out of there, right? There's the we are coaching you through how to not get hurt, right? Everybody everybody gave her the tools to not be in that state.
Mhm.
He ignored it, right? And did what she thought was right. And so it's interesting to see these male characters kind of change their perception of themselves based on seeing what she is capable of.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, like
Yes.
if she can do this, why am I just leaping away like a little bitch? Right?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I can't wait for Petrol to find all this out once he wakes up. So, uh,
He's
it does.
no. That dude, he's gonna be such a brat about it.
But
He's
that's his
totally gonna be
character.
like, I didn't do anything wrong. She did it wrong. She was supposed to leap away.
You're right. I mean, no, not really. Not to give too much away. I think he does own up that they should have stayed. But to his defense, he literally was knocked out. So, like there was literally like he could literally not do anything. Now, for him being the Crimson Duel, should he have been knocked out that quickly? Probably not. I do wish there was a little bit more of a fight before he got knocked out. But plot. We're putting this on, but like they're supposed to be the badass. So I did wish there was a little bit more of a fight there. But to be fair, he's also the weakest of all the Sonics. Or is it Karin? I have to go back with their ranking. Him and Karin are not far. I think they're like 5 apart. But like Augustus and Achilles are much stronger. So like clearly in the Crimson Duel, strength wise, it's Achilles,
Yeah.
not Petra. But yeah. Well, now for our sassy topic. So we get a lot of physical strength and moral strength, like in these chapters. How does Alexis struggle with like the physical demanding tasks compared to her internal like fight to stay true to herself? Is there one type of strength that is more respected in Sparta's like society? And then also in these chapters we get more perspective. So like how is physical strength and like moral strength portrayed in like other characters?
I mean, I think
I gave a lot.
in the context of the book, I think physical strength is given much more prominence. It's given more importance, right? And we even get that with explanations of the ways in which Sonic express their powers, like it's in their body, right? Like
Mhm.
um with Olympians, it's like in their mind. But then we also see it in the way that the Roman people reacted to Alexis. That like how shocked they were that a Spartan actually defended them or cared about them, right? That is They have not
But see, that's moral. I don't think that's
right, but
physical strength. That has to
that's
be
the thing
moral
is
strength.
they have not experienced someone with a moral.
Mm,
Everybody's experience is physical strength. You go back to, like, when she's in high school and they're watching the videos of the Crimson Duo. It's all about physical strength. It's all about physical attractiveness, right? There's no explanation of these characters of how they operate with a moral code in their regular lives, in their interactions with each other, and then, like, out in the world, right? The only time we see anything that becomes to be some sort of nuance of a moral code is like, "Oh, I'm gonna bathe my wife." Right? There's so in the book, there's all
uh,
this focus on physicality, which honestly makes sense for a book that you're writing as being like open door and there's gonna be like sexual stuff in there,
mhm,
yeah, we're building these like stereotypically like physically hot men or whatever, you know? So I kind of get it in the context of the book. And this is why I'm also interested to see how Alexis continuing with the moral compass forces these male characters to relook at themselves
mm,
and determine, like, do I have a moral compass? What is it like? How do I express it? That sort of stuff. Because that really doesn't
mm,
come out at
mm,
all. In real life, moral strength is far superior.
mm. Okay, so I agreed with some of what you said. So I think in Sparta, physical strength is preferred because we get that, like you said, with the phonics, whatever. However, where I'm gonna differ a little bit is I think the reason why in Rome they were like, "What are you doing with her? She's the only one that cares," because they saw the moral strength because they saw she was wiped the fuck out. Like at that point, anything that you're going at that is not strength. It's like adrenaline. It's something that is fighting within you to like keep going, and it was to save them. So I think the Roman people realized that it was moral strength. I think when it comes to Alexis, I don't think she considers her moral strength a strength at all, her like moral compass. I think there are a lot of times in the book where she's like, I am weak, or I have to prove myself physically, or this. Like, I don't think she ever sees her morality. And I would even go at this point, humanity, like if we're being honest, like how much she cares. I don't think she sees that as a strength, but it really is a strength. Um, and I do think that other people are starting to see this because we get in this last chapter, Karen says it like, she's too nice to be a monster. We have to be her monsters because people are going to take advantage of her. She's gonna exert herself until she kills herself to save somebody. So, like, that is because she's so good. So, I do think we're seeing that, and they're also seeing it. They knew she was always good, but I think now they're truly seeing it because she, like, literally almost died. Like, this is different than the Crucible. Like, yeah, she almost died from, like, exhaustion, but, like, she willingly put herself out there. I think we're also seeing it in the animals. I think they're gravitating towards her because of her moral strength, not her physical
Mhm.
strength. So, yeah. So, but I did like these next few chapters. I will say, have you gotten to the next chapter yet?
Yeah, I'm just a little over halfway through right now.
Okay, well, the next chapter is a little spicy, not like super spicy, just like a little pepper flake, like a little, just like a little one you're gonna put on your
Look, you know
pizza.
what? I gotta say, like, I don't know why, I love bathing as a form of caretaking. There's something about that that I'm just like, "That is" like, I'm like, "That's hot."
Yeah, and she needed it. She physically needed it. Like, and again, we didn't say this out loud, but in the book, they're like, she's so bloody. There was so much blood that even and because, like, they don't have electricity in the safe house because, like, you could find it, so they have everything but, like, candles. When Augustus was walking with them, it was, like, downpouring rain, and, like, the rain didn't, like, wash away everything, and, like, when he's in the shower, even though there's barely any light because there's, like, just candles, he can, like, see how black the water is running. So, I mean, yeah, she needed it, and he did it in such it was like, he did it so tenderly and so caring that, like, truly, if I was in that position, I would have been turned on too. I don't know if I would have been able to do anything because my back was split open, but, like, if he was so tender and it was so sweet, yeah. So
saying I would have been able to do anything, but I maybe like if I had it in me, I could maybe be like, okay, wet now. You take care.
You do the rest.
Yeah,
I love it, I love it.
but I do.
Ah,
I mean, this book, like the second book, is moving at a faster pace now. Right, we're learning more about the characters in a much more rapid pace. The descriptiveness of like the fight scenes and the injuries and things like that are, in my opinion, really improving. So
mhm.
I'm enjoying how the second book is progressing much more than I did with the first book.
Yeah. Well, I think the first book gave us a lot of, information we needed, and it was all about the Crucible, and the Crucible was, like, repetitive, but I do think we needed to get some of that to get where we are now, right? Like, the reason why the Crucible was repetitive, though, but it also showed how much Alexis loves for Drax, like, we needed that, because clearly this is gonna be her next, like, brother, right? Like, unofficial, like, they love each other, like, they're gonna be brother and sister, so, but I do like this a lot, wait till we get to the SGC because the SGC happens in this book.
Yeah, I think I'm like a chapter or two away from that because it's getting mentioned.
Yeah, yeah, like the SGC happens in this book, so wait till we get there. And then once we finish that, I'm gonna say again, what I wanna know this goddamn deal because it just doesn't make sense. But yeah. Well, thank you for doing this with me. So until next time, bye.